Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Zeb Welborn, author of The Social Golf Course. Zeb, welcome to the show.
Hey, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Are you ready to get started?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
I think the advice that I'd give for a first-time author writing their book is make sure, well, there's two things probably. Make sure you do a really good job at the editing process. I know when I wrote my first iteration of the book it was kind of like I just dumped things out on paper, or dumped things out on the computer. And then I took it to my dad. Fortunately enough for me, my dad, he was a professional writer and editor. He wrote for the Orange County newspaper for 43 years. And so he helped me edit it. But then when I sat down with him for the first day, he's like, Zeb, this is pretty much unreadable. And so I had to really pay attention to the editing process. And so, I went through and edited it multiple times to make sure that I got it right. So that's number one. And then number two is just, I think probably the biggest challenge that I was facing was I anticipated that it would be very quick to write a book. And it took a lot of time and effort. So I think probably the main thing is just you got to push through those moments of doubt and insecurity about putting the book together. Once you get started, just make sure you push through and make it happen.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, you and I were kind of chatting a little bit earlier. I'm self-published, and so for me, the publishing process was really simple in the self-publishing arena. My sister, she designs websites for a company, and so she knows how to do all the formatting and setting up the right way, and she does graphic design as well. So she's the one that did the book cover and put the book together. So fortunately, I didn't have to deal with any of that, which is wonderful. I think the hardest part on my end was really just actually executing on the book, was taking the time to make it happen and put it out the way that it needed to be. And then, like I said, the editing process was a challenge as well, just because I didn't anticipate how long that was going to take. And so I wanted to make sure that I put together the best product as possible. So I know that editing was a key component to the stuff that I was working on. So that took a lot of time, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, in my view, the best investment you can make besides marketing is editing your book and having it done correctly. So you definitely made the right call.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that worked well.
Well, so I think the intention for my book was it was never to be like a New York Times bestseller or anything like that. The book's called The Social Golf Course. It's how to do social media marketing for golf courses, and it was a very niche book. So I'm trying to get in the hands of golf course owners so that they could know how to effectively use social media to promote their business. And there's a lot of, through trial and error of the work that I was doing in social media marketing for golf courses, we learned a lot about how to do it and how to do it effectively. So I think the biggest marketing tool that I had a couple of things that I did in collaboration with the book launch. Was one, I did a book launch tournament, golf tournament, obviously it's for a golf course. So I did a book launch tournament, and that went surprisingly well. We launched the book, we had a book signing, and then we had the golf tournament. And I kind of planned all that, because it was a fairly quick process when we did the self-publishing online. So I didn't anticipate it going so quickly. So we just kind of put together this golf tournament in about 2 weeks. That got some good buzz and word of mouth in the golf industry for the book. And then probably another thing was really I just needed to make sure that it got in the hands of golf course owners and general managers. So I spoke with a lot of associations and organizations that were involved in the golf industry. And so that was probably the biggest thing, was just speaking in front of those groups and organizations of people who were the ones that I was trying to get the book in the hands of. So those are two things that I did for the book launch. It worked out well. We also did the through Amazon, you have the KDP kind of like free giveaway type stuff, and so I experimented those, and we got a lot of good word of mouth from giving out the free trial versions through Amazon.
Well, I like your strategy because your book, as you mentioned, is about social media marketing for golf courses. So you run a golf tournament, you have a book signing prior to the start of it, and then you're speaking at different golf associations. Those are all really good strategies to utilize.
Well, good. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was kind of like, as we're doing it, we were just kind of winging it. I was really, I think my main goal was just to get it out as quickly and as soon as possible and into as many hands as possible. And so there wasn't much planning that went in place beforehand. It was all just kind of like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's execute on this. And so I felt it worked out really well. My business has grown substantially as a result of that. I think at the time I only had 2 golf courses I was doing social media for. And now I've got about 15 clients across the country and still growing. So it's been very good.
I would say so, because you've clearly ran your book like a business, and you had the right idea because your main focus was the back end, and you increased it from 2 courses to, did you say 13 or 15?
It's 15, and then
wow.
the price level is significantly higher than what I was working when I started. I think of the 2 courses I was making, I don't know, like $300 or $400 a month, 2 courses, and now my average client is anywhere between $1,500 and $1,500 and $2,000 a month.
You said $1,500 to $2,000 a month?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing what that book does?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It adds a lot of credibility, and the same thing with speaking for, trying to speak in organizations to get in front of golf course owners is not an easy thing. And so the fact that there's a book that's associated with it, that everybody knows that I've written it, and that I'm the social media and golf person, and obviously I do a lot of other things in the golf arena, but that has definitely helped solidify me as somebody to go to when it comes to social media marketing for golf courses, for sure.
So your main focus is the social media marketing. Do you also handle their websites as well, or is it mainly just the social media marketing?
And their business is kind of it's kind of everything. So we do online marketing, right? With what I call the social emphasis. So we do all of their marketing in essence, or we can do all of their marketing in essence. But we use the social media strategies or social strategies to help drive business. So we have done website designs for different clients. We have done email marketing campaigns. We have done Google AdWords and Facebook advertising, that kind of stuff.
So both Facebook advertising and Google AdWords, that's quite the combo.
Oh, yeah. So basically anything online that you're doing to promote businesses and golf courses as well.
So how did you organize the book launch? Was this one of the golf clubs that you're already doing business with to get that tournament going? What was your process with that?
Yeah, so I grew up at this golf course. So they were my first clients. I grew up there. I worked there as a kid in college, and then I was doing their marketing after. They were my first social media client, or first social media golf course client that I started working on. And so when we wrote the book, I just kind of said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this little book launch tournament. Do you have a spot for me? They're like, oh, yeah, just let us know how many players you're going to have, and we'll reserve a spot for you. So then I sent out an email to my database, and asked all my friends. And surprised to me, I didn't think I'd get that many. I thought maybe I'd have 4 or 8 people show up. But we had 50. So there's 50 golfers that came out and played for a book launch tournament. And that actually was so successful that I started my own charity golf tournament, which runs every year. So we've done it for 4 years now. It's called the Southern California Charity Golf Classic. But that golf tournament started because I did a book launch tournament 5 years ago to launch the social golf course book launch.
So the book's been out for 5 years, is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's time for a second edition.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. I've kind of talked about that. I've toyed around with that. So yeah, I think you might be right.
Well, excellent. Well, I congratulate you on that. You definitely have the right strategies. And I always love talking to guests on the show that really do utilize their book to build their business. So congratulations to you on that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you reaching out and getting me on the show.
Well, and let's talk about your favorite book. So now we're going to cover the hard question. And that is, what is your favorite book? And what was the number one thing that you learned from it? Okay,
my favorite book and the number one thing that I learned from it. Well, I'll tell you what. I read constantly, and so I'm never one to reread a book over and over again. So my favorite book is usually the one that I've most recently kind of read and really enjoyed reading. So the book that I read recently is called Measure What Matters, and it kind of goes through this system. It's talking about OKRs, which are objectives and key results, and it's a goal setting system that the big organizations use to help manage their organization. So YouTube and Google, they're using this OKR system, and it really puts into play like what actually matters in business. Because one of the things that I deal with, and this is especially in the golf industry, is they're very numbers oriented in a way that's detrimental to their overall business. Whereas in this Measure What Matters system, it still measures things, but it measures the important things and not just the financials, because sometimes you can look at financial numbers and it can tell a different story than what you're trying to accomplish. And so that's why I really enjoyed this book, and I've been, as a result of the book and as a result of other things, I've been put into some leadership positions, and so I'm trying to make sure that I'm up to date on how to best set goals for a team and make sure we're executing on those goals.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Well, I've always said it's do or do not. There is no try by Yoda from the Star Wars. Yeah, so I'm sure that's probably a popular one, but I find that so revealing of what is important. There's a lot of people that I deal with that are always making excuses for things, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's a reason behind it. It's you either do it or you don't do it, and if you don't do it, you're not going to reap benefits, or you're not going to salvage a relationship or whatever that might be.
Yeah, I always joke around with my clients. I tell them, if I'm going to be coaching over the next 3 months or going through the process, I'm going to be your Yoda. The only difference is I'm 6'3". I always get a good kick out of that. Well, Zeb, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Well, the great thing about me is my dad, he was a reporter for the Orange County Register. So when they named me, he wanted to create a great byline, and the byline is, this is the story by Zeb Welborn. So you can find me anywhere. Nobody has my name, so it's Zeb Welborn, Welborn, on any social media channel, or you just Google that in and you'll find me. I'll pop right up.
Well, Zeb, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Hey, thanks a bunch, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.